We are a covenantal community founded on love and a common devotion to our free faith. We welcome each other into this virtual space. We especially welcome our visitors. Perhaps you are new and seeing this on YouTube page later. We are so glad that you are here. We invite you to connect with us in the comments or via our website or Facebook page. We join with all member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association in affirming and promoting the inherent dignity and worth of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in all human relations and all systems of society. We bear witness to the pain and suffering of Black, Indigenous, and other persons of color in all communities across this nation. And we continue our commitment to dismantle systems of oppression in order to build a better world. Black lives matter. Our church website and Facebook page have information about our activities. Also, members and friends, please remember that the best way to stay updated on congregational news is to read the Newsnet emails, the weekly e-blast, the monthly online newsletter, and our Facebook posts. As we light this chalice as a beacon of our faith and as a reminder of our commitment to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, we worship together, though we are at a distance, by celebrating that which is sacred to us individually and collectively. And now Lynn will lead us, get ready for our prelude music. All of our music today and every Sunday is performed and recorded by our music director, Dr. Ken McGuire.
The prelude prepares us for the service. Today's prelude is Wo Ya Ya.
Thank you, Lynn. Our opening words this morning are by Deepak Chopra. No single decision you ever made has led in a straight line to where you find yourself now. You peaked down some roads and took a few steps before turning back. You followed some roads that came to a dead end and others that got lost at too many intersections. Ultimately, all roads are connected to all other roads. Our music for the offertory and Circle of Lights today is Come and Go With Me. Please enjoy the following, by following your breath as you listen to today's music. While the music plays today, please share your joys and concerns and sorrows via direct chats to me, and I will read them out for the community after the music ends. Out of gratitude for all that we have been given and all that we have now, we share our resources because we love and trust each other to support the legacy, vision, and work of this church community. Contributions may be made by credit card by using the link that we are dropping in the chat box right now, or the link that will be available in the video description if you're watching this later. You can also write a check to UUCT. All non-pledged contributions will be divided between our Split the Plate recipient organization and our congregation. If you prefer to write a check to the selected organization, please mail it directly to that address that is in the link. Feel free to open a new window to make your contribution as the offertory music plays. By the work of our hands and the generosity of our hearts, our love is made real. Thank you for your gifts. Again, while the music plays today, please share your joys and concerns via direct chat to me, and I will read them out for the community after the music ends. We gather in loving community. We remember that we do not travel this earth alone. We share our lives and hold each other in meditative thought and reference. I have one from Jen Horn. Grateful that my husband, Don, continues to make a good recovery from total knee replacement surgery 3.5 weeks ago. Yay, I know that. From Billy, I was in Los Angeles for 2 weeks, and it was a joy to see so many close friends whom I've loved for so long. From Shampa, wish everyone a happy Friendship Day as we celebrate in India. And let's see. We have concern for the Afghanis in this very sad time. And from the Lightfoots, we're joyful that Katie made it to Europe safely to begin her Fulbright job for a year in Germany. And I'd like to call on Amanda to give us some words for this moment.
Thank you. I'd like to invite you into a moment of reflection and prayer as we remember all the things that we bring to this space today, both the joys and the sorrows, the hopes and the dreams, those things that provide us connection one to the other, even in these times of distance. Gracious Spirit, you of many names, we ask you to hold all of these joys and sorrows, both those spoken and still too tender to be acknowledged. We ask that you remind us that we are never traveling this path alone, that we have each other to lean on. We are grateful for another day to celebrate together, to be in community, and to walk with each other towards the future. Amen and blessed be.
We recognize all burdens and celebrations that went unspoken. May the warm light of our chalice flames bring us peace. And now I'm delighted to introduce today's speaker. I think you know her. She grew up in our church, Amanda Schuber, my daughter. I also want to publicly congratulate her for the first time since she graduated with her MDiv. And everybody hold her in your thoughts. She's about to go before the UUA to do her final work before she is ordained. So welcome, Amanda. And she's going to be talking about who's got the map.
Thanks, Mom. It is a joy, as always, to be in the congregation that grew me up and thrust me into the world. It is always like coming home. When I was a kid, we used to make the journey to Alabama from Missouri every Christmas and summer. Mom would make me a little nest of blankets and pillows in the back of the car because she insisted on leaving before dawn. It was in the days before GPS and Alexa to guide our way. So after the sun rose, I would sit in the front seat as navigator. I was navigator in name only. Mom didn't really believe in maps. Well, she believed in them at least in the beginning of a trip, but saw no need to consult them along the way. Instead, she relied on a healthy dose of intuition and the reality that if you hit water, you had probably gone too far. History is full of epic journeys, from the Israelites wandering the desert for 40 years with only the promise of a land of milk and honey to sustain them, to Columbus and his voyage across the sea, a voyage with a devastating legacy. Maybe the journey of tears as First Nations were forced to march into an unknown future, or Neil Armstrong's race to the moon, riding a fireball bound for a coveted place in history. Perhaps we will remember the journey across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, made by a people determined to be free. A journey of 1,000 miles may physically begin with just one step, but I believe that it really begins long before that first step, somewhere deep inside of us, in the soul that is troubled or inspired, restless, maybe intrigued, a soul demanding to move and see where the path leads. Now, I am well aware that not all journeys are welcomed ones. There are some that we have to be drug along while we protest all the way. But what if I told you that even those, the ones we fight against, the ones we fear, the ones that leave us feeling like we are wandering in the desert alone, have a real purpose and merit to our overall story? I chose the word journey for this talk because it implies more than just a trip. A journey is intrinsically filled with struggle, revelation, and even its own bit of glory. To journey is to step out into the unknown and trust that there is a reward at the end. A journey implies a giving over of some kind of control, the expectation that we will falter and get back up. We will struggle, but know the triumph upon our arrival, even if we don't really know what the destination is. This summer, you as a congregation have focused on telling your story, figuring out who you are individually and as a beloved community. This congregation has been on quite a journey the last few years. You have weathered some troubled seas, celebrated milestones, mourned the loss of dreams, and set out on a new path, sometimes drawing the map as you go. You've traveled together and alone in the storms and in the rays of the sun. You are entering a time of becoming, visioning, naming. Now, this is not the first time that this congregation has struck out into the world. Unknown, bold and hopeful for what possibilities await. In fact, if not for the brave and maybe even a few reckless founders of this congregation, we wouldn't be here today. It was them who took the first step, believing that there was a place, a need, and a responsibility for a liberal religious community to come together, to worship, and to build a place of welcome in Tuscaloosa. It was in that spirit that they planted the seeds of this congregation, well aware that they may never live to see all the blooms. And bloom it has. Together, you have raised several generations of liberal freethinkers. I'm living proof. You've lent your voice, your presence, and your commitment to social justice issues that have impacted lives throughout the country. You've held talent shows and garage sales, holiday markets, and animal blessings. You've been a guest in the home of other religious denominations, and when the time was right, you built a home that you could call yours for a while. You've celebrated triumphs, and you've mourned the losses. Maya Angelou, in her book, Wouldn't Take Nothing from My Journey Now, says that each of us has the right and responsibility to assess the roads which lie ahead and those over which we have traveled. And if the future road looms ominous or unpromising, and the roads back are uninviting, then we need to gather our resolve and, carrying only what's necessary, step off that road into another direction. And if the new choice is also unpalatable, then without embarrassment, we must be ready to change as well. The thing about a journey is that it usually entails a good bit of soul searching and going head to head with some very hard truth. Journeys are fraught with times where you will feel lost, when your faith in yourself, your community, and the universe will feel shaky and uncertain. Journeys open old wounds and maybe create new ones. But by the end, when you have reached the mountaintop in breathless joy or sit under the tree in quiet contemplation, those wounds will have become scars. And all scars have a story. Scars are proof that you survived because they don't grow on the dead. You, as a congregation, are in the process of writing your story, telling the tales that have made you who you are as a community today, the good, the bad, and everything in between. This community is woven together by its stories of who you have been, who you are, and who you are becoming. And it is in the becoming where you currently rest, a place of anticipation, trepidation, and possibility. You have written the tales of your past, relished the sweet memories that carried you to today, and now it's time to look forward to who you want to and need to become. It's time to put pen to paper and tell who you are and what you hope to be in this world now, going forward, with the understanding that in community, in this moment, this part of the journey is fleeting. It is indeed planting the seeds of a garden that you will likely never see fully grown. It's okay. It's okay to feel shaky in your faith that this journey will find you whole on the other side. Faith is not the absence of doubt, but perseverance in spite of doubt. It is trusting that those first steps and all those that follow will be taken together. That when you fall and slip in the mud with scraped knees, as you are bound to do, you will form a chain to pull each other out and up. Together, you're writing the next chapter in your collective story. The last year has been hard, and there is sorrow in many of us. The thing about sorrow is that it is proof that there is something worth loving here together. If you didn't care, if it wasn't important, you wouldn't feel so deeply about this community and its place in your life. So today, I challenge you to think about the DNA of this congregation. What draws you here each week? What keeps you in this community? What seeds do you want this church to plant for the generations to come? I dare you to draw a map in your mind, knowing that the destination is far beyond your vision and that there will be many stops along the route. Here at the beginning of the next leg of this journey, you have looked at the map forward, deemed its offerings sufficient, but perhaps not the full picture, as it's unable to predict the detours, the scenic views demanding a stop for a picnic, the endless road construction, or all the sunsets worth taking in. In our journeys, my mother may have been convinced that if you hit the water, you've gone too far and should turn left or right, which certainly always got us where we were headed. But the older I've gotten, the more I think about it, I realize that if we've come to the edge of the water, perhaps we just need to take off our shoes and swim a while, because maybe, just maybe, the story is in the detour. Amen. Blessed be. May our journey continue.
Thank you for Amanda. We're going to break out into some breakout rooms shortly. Amanda, do you have a question for us to consider?
I do have a question for you to consider. I want you to consider who you want this congregation to be going forward. You've looked at your past, you've looked at your present. What do you want to be in the community going forward? What social justice do you want to do? What do you want to provide? Who do you want to be? Set the map.
All right. Well, we're going to ask Lynn to send us out to the rooms, and we'll see you there. And we have about 6 or 8 minutes to talk. See you shortly. Our closing words today are from Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at a meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. I am the dream and the hope of the slave, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And now Lynn will lead us into our music. As we extinguish this flame, let us remember that we carry the light within ourselves, which brings healing to a broken world and hope for the days ahead. Friends, please also remember to complete our very short evaluation. We are dropping into the link into the box one more time. Let us be hopeful for the days ahead, living out love and kindness and working untiringly for justice. The service has ended. We invite those of you who are able for our virtual coffee and conversation. Let us go in peace.